I got a response on my last video that led me to believe that, like I kind of remembered, doors would not be trapped in general. Chests, 50-50. Well, when I looked here, it says when a player enters the room for the first time, the party must check for the doorway for a trap. A trap may be trapped. Procedure, the player controlling the character delegated investigates. There's nothing there that indicates what I remembered. However, I decided to check back, and in the sequence of play, not here where the rule is, usually SPI games are very good about everything that's in the sequence of play shows up in the later rules. Roll a d6 to determine whether or not the door is trapped. On a roll of 1, it is trapped. Okay, so I spent some mana, well, some health points. That's the thief point here. And I also made a check. I only would have had to make that check on a 1. Only if the door is trapped do I have to detrap it. So we're going to roll a die. We did not get a 1, so what I'm going to do is, thief is only a 1-point spell. I'm going to give him back his wound point. That should not have been spent. It's really odd that, like, this is really weird to me that it was not contained in the general rule or procedure there. Okay, so since I got suckered up here, I guess we'll do at least another room. Let's see what we get. And we move forward into, it's a staircase, but it's still a room. So actually I have to roll a die to see if the door is trapped. Okay, it is not. And now we have to roll for a monster. I don't remember what the monster check is. 1 through 3. That is in the sequence of play. That was also elsewhere though. We get another stupid monster. Damn it. All right, let's roll. And I get a 4-1. That's going to be a gargoyle. We got those right on top. Okay. Gargoyle has a lot of dice of hits. It also has a big combat factor. This is a hard choice. Well, first off, let's try negotiating with. Let's see. Are gargoyles easy to negotiate with? They have a negotiation value of only 4. That makes them particularly easy. Now, here's the problem. If I come down from here and I go into a room, and I have to somehow indicate that this staircase goes to that room, the best way to do this would be grids, kind of the way Valkenburg Castle does, but there's no map sheet or anything, so I don't know. I can put little markers of some sort. Okay, so my negotiation value is it's like a 2. 2 negotiate. So I'm at -2 on the die roll. We'll go for it. We'll see if we get lucky. 9, 7. We get an agreement. That gargoyle is going to ignore us. We'll fall back from there. Now in falling back, we have to roll, and on a 1 there's a monster that's wandered back into that room. Yeah. And the same coming here to this corridor. I don't think I have to check doors that I've already walked through. Oh no, now we got a wandering monster. All right. And that will be 3 and 4. That'll be a minotaur. Where am I going to find one of them? Okay, we're going to have to paw through the counters to see if we can find a minotaur. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this on camera? I'll be back. Okay, well, this is exceptionally nasty. Now, first thing I have to do, I look up Minotaur. Good treasure, no special abilities. They have a negotiation value of 7. My value of 2 at -5. I'm not going to be able to talk to the Minotaur. They have a resistance value of 3. A little worse than I like. But I'm going to try to charm this sucker too. And where's my charm skill? It's here. I don't remember the cost. We have a compendium of all the spells. Its cost is 3. It's expensive. But unlike the heal spells, I can cast charm as many times as I like. Actually, yeah. Let's do it first before we react with anything else. So, a 3 capability versus, is that a resist table? Did I fuck something up? No. I'm thinking like RuneQuest type stuff here. So I am looking at a resistance of 3. I have a 3. What do I need to do? Do I just fail? That can't be. I gotta have some chance. I know I looked this up before, but we're not good. The less the monster occurs. Yeah, okay. So he has a resistance of 3, but my skill of 3 means that, or no, I don't have a skill. I'm casting a spell. Yeah, so he has a 50-50 chance of resisting this. But he's a big enough monster, I would like to just capture him and add him to my party. I get lucky again. Okay, now we consider who else we want to put down there. We have Deirdre. She's armed with a fucking hammer and a sword. Sligoth has a bow. All right, let's look at combat capabilities. 5 axe, 5 hammer, 4 sword. We're going to take, we took Theragrand out. So it's got to be one of these two. The hammer's a better weapon. Deirdre has no spell casting capability, so we'll pull Sligoth from the front of the line and move the Minotaur in. And I got to roll the strength points for it. I should have done this before, but that's okay. And that's going to be 2 dice plus 4, which gives me 16 hit points. And I'm beginning to get a pretty good party here off these charm abilities. I also want to do some healing. So now a stronger party, we recharged her. 1 heal actually recharged her completely. She can't use her own, but we used one over here. And I guess we're ready to pack on and keep going. I don't want to heal Sligoth with 7 hit points. He can only heal 1 back, but missing by 1, you know, if I had overshot by 1, that might be okay. I want to make sure that I can cast another charm spell if I want to. So we'll go to the next space. And we could curve this way, I guess. That looks pretty good. A quick roll for monster. We don't get one. And we're going to try to go through that door. 1 and 6. And we find a table. Put it this way because that'll give us the most options. There is no monster in there, so now we deal with the table. All right, we look up. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell me what's what. I think it's an altar. But nope, it's furniture. Excellent, it is indeed a table. Okay, so let's see what kind of furniture we have. Who's going to go explore? Gosh. I don't know. Well, I get to see what it is before I decide who's going to go explore. Where are tables? Magic item. Feature. Furniture. Oh no, I think we have to actually explore it. I'm not sure. Like the fountain, you have to find out what it is, but the furniture, I don't know if you do. So let's look how we look up furniture. Yeah, I think we don't know until we send somebody up to it. Now, the danger here... So if I find a bookcase, I could learn a spell. So I want to send a magician in there. It's not like anybody else will read the spell. The way it's worded, it's the person who looks. Some of these others, a mirror would be cool for anything. Some of these others are bad. Do we have a good resistance on anyone? Not particularly. So we want somebody with some magic and current magic. This one's using the charm. That's not a good choice. I think I'll send Sligeth in. He's as good as anything. And we go over here to the feature table, and we look to see what Sligeth finds. Sligeth found the bookcase, indeed. Awesome. I guess. I don't know. All right, so we look at the bookcase. The investing character rolls a die. On a 1 through 3, the bookcase falls on them, hurting them. Otherwise, they find a magic book of spells with the resurrect spell. Awesome. Yay! Okay, so Sligeth now has the resurrect spell. This is a very expensive spell. There's no limit to how many times you can cast it, though. This is a pretty big deal, actually. Costs 5. Does he have 5? He doesn't have 5 magic. I shouldn't have sent him. There's no one who could cast this. So I'll just write that down. It's possible he could learn more magic. There are medallions and stuff like that that can be used. I don't know if I can exchange them with people. But that's where we are. I've got to swap batteries. I think I'll come to the next interesting point, because just drawing counters and placing them isn't particularly interesting. Rolling dice for traps and whatnot. Not all that exciting on its own. By the way, that's, the problem with the game for me, is that, yeah, it's a bunch of not all that exciting mechanical actions. You could say the same about, I'm thinking some other solo games here. I mean, Voyage of the Pandora, I love the game, but I kind of, it doesn't present well, right? Okay, so another similar sort of solo game, except that uses the paragraph system, and I thought that was such a brilliant thing. But like, if we looked at, I'm trying to remember the submarine one. Oh, what the fuck is that called? I don't know what it is. Got it kicking around somewhere here. The Hunters. I'm just like bopping around, making some decisions, there's no question, but also rolling lots of dice and looking things up on tables, and it's just not particularly fun to see. I have a problem. We just ran into a bunch of orcs. Empty room, nothing interesting there. There's a D6 plus 1 orcs. And again, that'll be modified if I'm at higher level, right? The number of monsters could be doubled down at level 3. So I get 4 orcs. I'll find orcs. Here's something where the game has a problem. These guys have no labeling on them. I have no means of discerning who is who in each location. Now, it's unlikely they move much, and I'm just going to number them 1, 2, 3, but it would be very helpful if they had ID numbers on them. We'll try to negotiate with a bunch of orcs. How about that? Orcs are a negotiation value of 0. This is a good group to talk to, actually. Now, my negotiation is a 2. I'm going to just go with that and not cast any spells because I'm low on magic. Well, I'm not really, but... Oh, not so good. Well, actually, fine. We come to an agreement. So the group of orcs will ignore me while I'm in here. And they stack up in this room. And I can continue on. I find an empty room here, and there's no monster, and I come back out, and I gotta deal with the orcs again. They're like, oh, you back? All right. So again, I'm going at that -2. Oh no, that's not good. It's +2. And that's not good. Fuck me. So the other one was probably an intimidate. I don't know. What did I roll? I rolled something that got me down to agreement. And it wasn't a pleasant something because I thought it was going to get me there. Okay, so I should have actually gotten the orcs' treasure. The orcs have a treasure of H/B. What does that mean? Does that mean H and B, or does it mean H or B? And now the fact that I intimidated them, they don't go away. They're going to give me some quantity of their treasure, not all of it. It's like a quarter of their treasure. What does that mean? Yeah, good question. What does it mean if it's inside a chest? So would have gotten intimidate. They'll give a quarter of their gold marks. I think those gold marks are resurrected. So HB, I don't know what the treasure is. Fuck me. Where is treasure listed? I don't know. Treasure. So the first letter is the room treasure. I remember reading that. Okay, so they had treasure type H, which is 2d6 money. Seven, if they give me a quarter of that, that would be $2. And they still have that full amount now that I'm back. But let me just collect that $2. Who did the negotiation? He did. So I'll just give him the cash for $23 and I'll be back. Now we had a failure, remember? So now we actually do have to fight this band of orcs that we're facing. And we're here for whatever it matters. Kind of painful chits on the same size chits. Again, other games would have probably, like higher quality components would have probably come up with slightly larger chits, and the party maybe with a pawn or something like that. There's all kinds of ways you can do this that would be much, much prettier. But it's very helpful to be able to just shuffle them in the cup. Okay, so what are we doing? We get first swing, and we have to attack directly across where we can. But I need to roll up these monsters. They're each 1 die of hits. So we'll do that first. I decided to swap things around from what I was saying. One is going to be over in this corner because that'll match and track with this. We got a big amount of hits on the middle guy, and then the back row guy only has 1 hit. Now, orcs have a 3 and a weapon. I don't remember what their weapon is. There's listed somewhere. What kind of weapon do they have? Does it say on the monster table? It does. Orcs are armed with swords. Okay, that's helpful. Probably doesn't matter. And I guess we could pick up a sword if we wanted to. Okay, so Deirdre is our first attacker, and this is the first time we've done a real battle, right? I think so. We killed something. So I have a combat value of 4 and a hammer gives +1 hammer gives me a 5 combat value against a 2-point orc. I'm probably in good shape here. Oh yeah, I do 2 points of damage, which is exactly what I needed to kill it. We'll just cross that one off. We do have to keep track of their original points for XP. Now here, I've got a 7-point monster, but this is against a 6-point, 6 health orc. So +7 on the monster table. I only get an 8. That's going to only do 1 hit point to this orc. Okay. And then the third one, I get to breathe fire though too. What's the orc's resistance value? They have a resistance of 1. So they have some chance. Doesn't work. He's down to a 4. And now I have a 10-point monster. Use different color die. Against the final orc. Only an 11. 1 point. Not good enough. And no special capabilities there. Now, I don't know if I can heal my monsters. Don't know if I want to. It seems like a bit of a waste. They're really there as padding. But now I have my bow row. These guys aren't armed with any kind of missile weapons, so I can kind of ignore the guy in the back. I don't know if I could shoot him anyway. And let's take a look at my bows. So I really want to kill Orc 3, so we'll fire the +2 bow at Orc 3. That's a 6. That does a hit to him. So he's down 1. And now I have a +1 bow at him as well. That's a 5. That does a hit. So we killed off the third orc. That last orc, I don't know if I can shoot the final row. It might be of value to me if I can, because I'm not going to be able to kill the remaining orc. So let's take a look at combat. What am I allowed to shoot at? I think I can shoot in the second row. I'm not sure. I can't find anything, and I don't really care. Okay. So this is really unlikely to do anything anyway, because it's a +0 bow that the dwarf has. With a 4, he just misses. The orc gets to swing back. He swings at what's directly in front of him, which is the chimera, which is not my ultimate goal here. He's got a 3 sword. And he does a 9, which is a point of damage to the chimera. Okay. And yes, we'll be erasing and whatnot there. But I'm allowed to move this one. And I believe it's at random. Odd even. This is in the reorg phase. He'll come down where I want him against the Minotaur. That's perfect. And now I get to swing back. I'll come back after I've eliminated the orcs. It probably happens this phase. No way to indicate that I've already taken, and how much gold the orcs had left or whatever, and what their other treasure is. Since I had to defeat them again, they get their full treasure back. But we got no jewels, no magic items. But we ended up getting $9. And the way I'm going to divvy that up, I already assigned the experience. That's 12 to each player because this adds up to 12, and all 6 of my characters are still alive. The way the cash divvies up, though, with only 9 and 6 characters, I'm going to give each person $1. And Deirdre was in the front, so she will get the remainder. We're just going to do shit that way. Yeah, I know, there's victory conditions and whatnot, but the fact that she's taking point there. You can make an argument about the charm. Should I have gotten a treasure by charming? Yeah. I actually should have gotten a treasure from the Minotaur. I don't know. I think I forgot about that. The Minotaur was, I think, wandering random. So he was C. Let's see what he had. Forgot about him entirely. No magic item. Money, luckily, is 3 dice. So I'll add that in and just balance it out. The person who did the charming is going to get more as well. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. So we were at 9, add 6, 15, 16. Now this happened over a couple of things. That's okay. Okay, we moved into the next room. There's an altar in here. The door was trapped. Cast another thief spell and managed to succeed in picking or disarming the trap. And there are 2 orcs in it. Orcs are easy. Screw them, we're not talking. So we just go in and fight. All right, red will be the first one. Oh, man, they're easy. Okay. So after I kill them, I'll be back with what the rewards are. It's actually automatic. My monsters both are going to do at least a point of damage each. So we killed 2 orcs. We each are getting 2 points of XP. But they have the same treasure as the larger group of orcs would have. Which was, what, G, something like that? H. So jewels, yes. No magic item. So there's a D3 jewels, and again, I'm just going to convert them into money. So we got 3 jewels, and then the cash. And I'll just convert it and dish it out. If there's any spillage, I guess I'll give it to the person who charmed, although Deirdre may get some for at least being at risk, potentially, and being in the front row. You know who I should give some to? I should give some to the guy who's doing the detrapping, and some to the guy who's unlocking, who's helping him unlock the doors. It's just like, there's no way to divvy up the cash. And if you were in a regular, like a D&D group or whatever, you would just divvy up the rewards, right? Like, you would negotiate it out. Well, that's kind of what we're doing. Exceptionally stupid for tracking the experience points individually per character. What I should do is just pull out a bunch of 10-sided dice and start, adding them up. Because everybody's got the same amount, and that will always be the case. But the money's not the case. Remarkably crappy gems here. 2 of them were snake eyes. Total of 22. In addition to that, so we've got 31 divided by 6 is 5 each. I guess I'll give $1 to the thief. For the altar, there's a couple of them that really help the dwarf. So he's the one who's going to go there. This may not be good. Investigating features is always somewhat dangerous. So let's see who we get and what they want. We get a 5, which is not one of the ones I looked at, Larage. Like, I looked at 2 and I'm like, well, the dwarf wins in both cases. The Marquis of Archers. If the character passes his check, he gains +3 bow skill. Regardless of whether or not he possesses a bow, he has one. If he fails his check, he's attacked by 3 magical arrows, which will just be straight rolls. So it's a resistance check. Do I have anybody with good resistance? Not really. He was a perfectly good choice. Can we increase his resistance? No. All right, so he gains nothing, and instead he's hit by 3 arrows. 4s don't hit. We need a 5 or a 6 to do damage to him. Okay, so the dwarf takes a point of damage. He's down to 4, I guess. This would be a lot more helpful with some of the tools that other games have, just to track losses and everything. Some little player aids or something make a lot more sense. Some of them like Mage Knight and Gloomhaven and whatnot have little dials and stuff to handle this kind of stuff. That would work a lot better. Obviously, it was a magazine game. What can you expect? Couldn't I pull those things out? Yeah, I could, but it would be kind of a pain. What I could be using is something more like a Republic of Rome type answer, where I'm updating counters for characters. I might break down to that. Thinking about it. I could just do that right on the sheet, in fact. Okay, so we investigated the altar, and now we're going to be walking back, and we have to make wandering monster checks each time. We ran into a chimera outside of here, and yeah, we tried negotiating. That didn't work. We're going to try to charm another monster. Why not? We have the hit points for it. It's 3 points to do. It has a resistance value of a mighty 2. Be cool if we get another one. Hey, lucky us. I might have decided differently if I had rolled up its stats first. It only has 4 wound points. That thing would have fallen immediately. But whatever. And let's check. I don't know. I mean, I'm supposed to, I think, roll up its stats beforehand. So yeah, let me just kill it instead and get rid of this. I don't want to take something that shitty. And I'll take my hit points back. And at least for XPs, I'm keeping track of them here. Everybody's got 30 XP because they always get the same amount. Money I can't do that with, even though it's within a couple of bucks of each other. It's the one thing that can like determine who wins. Is like, and I think the way it actually is going to end up is through the vagaries of the jewel table. Oh, I want the nice jewel, you know. That can get you a victory, but on the other hand, you might want a magic item instead. Whatever. All right, well, we'll continue into the next room. See if there's a monster there. No monster this time. Can I do this left-handed? Kinda. And then we'll keep exploring. We're going to go north now. We find another room. Nothing interesting in it except an orc. It's one orc. Let's see how strong he is. He's fairly strong. We should be able to wipe him out. We're just going to kill him to try to get his treasure. Nothing too exciting. Couple bucks each. Some more XP. We got to get down to here and then explore there. Then all we have left is stairs going down, which is not very promising. I think it's a good time to break. this back into place and swap cam, get that over there and go find something else to do for a little while. A movement with nothing of note happening, and we've run into, through an untrapped door, no monsters, an altar again. Now I had decided the dwarf wanted to go through the altar. I only have 4 hit points left. What is the possible damage of the altar? I really want the dwarf to do it. So he's going to take a shot at it. I should send one of the monsters. No, I can't do that. So yeah, we'll try that. I hope I don't get the same one. That was, well, I don't know. I mean, it would have been cool, actually. Osmodee. I think they all are based on the resistance check. The Infernal King, if the character passes check, it gets a combat bonus of +3 and the ability to cast lightning at only 1 wound point. He already has lightning. This is going to be cool, though. But we have to pass the resistance check. We do not. Should he fail his check, he is cursed. His magic potential for each sun is immediately and permanently reduced by 1. Okay. Not cool at all. I can't cast lightning anymore. Well, no, wait, I can. I have to throw a spell away, though, I think. Because I no longer have enough mana. I no longer have the right sun for that. So I will keep this heal spell and drop the lightning. Okay, so now we run into trouble. Things have been going pretty easily, actually. Much easier than I seem to remember. Maybe I misplayed the game before, but we ran into trouble. Into this room, no traps, nothing like that. We worked our way through, right? No monsters, no traps. But now we found a vampire. One little vampire. Vampire has a huge attack factor, a fairly high number of hits with 3 dice. I should roll it before I make any choices. But a high resistance value too, a 4 resistance value, which means, yeah, I would have a chance of getting it. It also has the capability to charm enemies that it attacks on the first 2 combat rounds, which is really problematic. I was unable to negotiate with it. I'm guessing bribery isn't going to help either. Let's see. And the problem is, the best you get out of a bribery is it's still kicking around there, and you got to maybe deal with it on the way back. Now, maybe I'll be safe and able to avoid it, because there's nothing I really want to be here. If I had a lock, this would be a good time to just throw a lock in place and run in a different direction. The problem is, this would be an opening, which means the dungeon wouldn't be complete, so like, I couldn't, there is a staircase going down, so it kind of is safe anyway, or it's kind of open anyway, but sometimes you can kind of utilize the fact that the dungeon has no possibility for the Hellgate to exist, to extend your chit play and whatnot. And here, you know, it might end up on level 1 behind this, and I would have to deal with that. I've got a lot of openings right now, though, so that's really unlikely to be the case. Let's take a look at how potent he is. He's 3 dice of hit points. If he's not very many, I'm going to kill him. If he is, I got to think real hard. Oh, that doesn't look good. Okay, so he's got 14 strength points. He would be worth a hell of a lot to have, and it's going to be really hard to do that much damage to anyone. Really hard. I don't have any firepower in the back row back here, except for the missile weapons I have. I think I have to charm him. So that's 3 hits off of MTET, which I can try to... On a 5 or a 6, I get the vampire. And he would be a huge advantage, right? Because he's charming people and all kind of stuff. No such luck. And there's nothing I can do to like reduce resistance or anything like that. So this could actually wipe my party, conceivably. All right, I guess we do this one out because it is a real fight and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be real ugly. I'm not going to go in full detail. I'm gonna do my attacks and see what I do to it. But there's no way I'm going to kill it in this first round, which means it's liable to charm my chimera over. How is this done? A vampire will attempt to charm his attacking during the first 2. Yeah, he doesn't spend wound points, but he has a chance of just taking things. Now, I do not have the spell, the redemption spell, that avoids this. I didn't take that. I took the stone to flesh, but I didn't actually carry that with me either because I didn't have enough points for it. So I'm potentially in a lot of trouble here. So for the most part, people did 1 hit each, except for one mighty blow by the Minotaur, who'd managed to do 3 hits on a total die roll of 15. Now he has a 10 bonus. He's big. He's able to get me to these bigger numbers up here on a high roll. It's not anywhere near enough, though. I've still got 8 hits left. Here comes the important part. This is a charm attempt against the Chimera. I've got no way of improving the Chimera's resistance value, so it still only has that resistance of 2. That's why I took it so easily. It saves. All right. And that's the only attack the vampire makes these first 2 rounds. Later, it starts wailing on us with that big 11 hit points, which is going to hurt. But what I'm really worried about is it stealing monsters and characters over and just wiping my team that way. All right, well, we'll swing back. I don't expect to do 8, but we'll see. Both my monsters got good rolls. And no, I'm not cheating, man. 2 points from the Chimera, 4 points from the Minotaur. I have not done my back row yet. I've got him at 1 point. His resistance is so high, I'm going to roll these out for the missile shots rather than use spells. Yes, actually the only spell I had that could attack is the lightning. I could actually charm again, except that would kill me. I shouldn't have fired his bow off. It missed, even though he's the best of the bowmen. That is, I think, a hit. So we have killed us a vampire. Pretty impressive, actually. That's 14 XP that we're going to get each. And treasures. What is a vampire? In a room. I don't know if you can find one outside. It's a J. Now, J, I think, is one of the ones that comes in a chest. Ooh, hydras are nasty, too. Somewhere they tell us. J, K, and L will always be trapped. Okay, let's see if there's a trap. It's a 6, there's no trap, so we just get to open it. We don't have to... it's kind of weird. It's like when you think about traps and whatnot, you think about, okay, well, the thief goes up and looks for traps, right? Here you get to roll and find out that there's no trap before you send somebody in. So if you don't have someone with a D-trap skill, you can still open these chests up sometimes. So on J, we got tons and tons of cash, but let's check magic item. No luck. And then jewels, no luck. but we get 120 bucks split 6 ways is 20 each. I'm going to play around with the healing spells. So both of these are down 3. Well, he's down 2. He's down 3. If he fires off a healing spell for 3, yeah, I need the charm. If he fires off a healing spell for 3, this guy could fire one off as well. We're definitely going to fire this one off. And it is D3 plus 1, I think. That's a 4, so that heals him. But he's down to a 3. I'm going to leave him at 3 because a healing spell could do better. And, oh, we got to mark another one of these off, or one of these off. He's down to 2 healing spells left. Part of the reason is that that second row doesn't feel like it's going to get attacked. Yeah, it could have gotten plowed into here. But you got to kind of make your decisions, and it's like, well, what if I do like I did here and roll an extra wound point back? I need this available because he needs to be able to do the charm spells. Anyway, there's nothing in this room, so we'll keep looking, roll for door, whatever. I'm having a better time than I remember of this game, and I think I'll raise my rating. I had it at a 2. Okay, that's how bad I thought this was. I've raised it to a 3 after reading the rules and thinking about it a little bit. I'm like, yeah, even if it's broken, it deserves more than a 2. Honestly, I think it's because I'm doing it on camera. I really do. Because I'm sharing the story with you in the same way that I might be playing it with another person and sharing the story, in that way. So it's kind of interesting. Most of my solo games, I have played with other people and have realized that that's where the pleasure is. This particular one, I didn't. And I never brought to other people because I thought it was so lousy and so annoying to deal with. And it might be, first of all, it's not as hard as I thought it was. Maybe I'm just being clever or more clever than I was at, when 80. So when I'm 13 years old or whatever and gave this its first shot. I did give it other shots, though, because by the time that the game box existed, basically a set of index cards kept in boxes that I tracked, the ratings that other players gave things. I ended up throwing away all those index cards, which I'm kind of sad about, but it's like, yeah, what am I going to do? But it was kind of nice to look through them and see the memories of those old games that I played. But sometime when I was in Phoenix or else when I moved or whatever, I made the decision to just pitch all the cards because I had already recorded all my scores into Board Game Geek. And I assumed that, at least some of the people I played with that I knew might have done something similar. They had the opportunity to, at least. It was a very similar, rating system, 1 to 10 basis and whatnot. I came up with back in the 90s. But now I kind of miss it, because I don't know, it was just like some people have photographs and what, I have a few, but I don't really look at those, but they also have that same kind of value in terms of I can't really throw these away. These are slices of out of my life. One reason I don't like photographs and why I don't tend to take them or anything. But it was kind of traumatic for me to throw them all out, but I had all my information on it. And I had all kind of information, I had like a brief synopsis of each game and whatnot so that people could flip through the cards. It was all information I had on my website, which was also kind of similar to the BGG catalog, except it was just games I owned. But the thing is, here's what I wasn't willing to do. I wasn't willing to add all the new games that I was buying over the past, well, at the time, over 5 years or 6 years or whatever, but over the past decade or plus, I was not willing to add those games uh, onto additional cards. I actually bought the cards to do so, and then I said, "This is stupid. You don't care. You don't game with other people, so why do this?" And that was kind of the argument was, you don't game with other people, and when you do, they all play. They all have access to BGG and can enter their things. So the only reason to keep it was for those memories. But now I'm kind of saddened by not having it. Like all things in life, if it's not absolutely clear that it's garbage, if it has any possibility of a use, I really need to learn not to throw it out. You know, that's why I have like those boxes there. They may someday be useful to me. Now, there's just so much in my life that's like I stored paper cups. I'm out of them now. I used them all, I think. But yeah, and old office furniture and stuff like that. But in this case, it's like, actually an emotional hurt to realize I don't have that anymore. Okay, enough down memory lane. I will continue, but I have to pee first. All right, a little bit more exploration. I found a room, no monsters in it, with what looked like some windows lying in a pile. Oh, I wonder what that is. Guessing that's artwork. All right, I got to look at artwork and make a decision based on who, might gain and lose stuff by investigating. A little scared of artwork. Sliggeth has the resurrect. Oh, yeah, but he doesn't know it. Here's the problem. You learn a spell. I don't know if you get rid of something when you learn it. Like he learned resurrect. It's possible he could learn Wrath of God here too. Ugh. All right, I think Theragon is going to go look at it. You don't have to, and I'm kind of tempted not to. But she's carrying the stupid dagger. Who's got like a sword and a... Somebody's got like something stupid, don't they? Hammer and a sword. She's going to look, actually. Although she's in the front row, which is not necessarily great. That's a 4. She found some cut glass. That doesn't sound good, but I know that's not a bad one. On the table is a cut glass object, which is the investigating player can claim. If claimed, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, it's a talisman. On a 4 to 6, it's a medallion. We found a medallion. Okay, what does the medallion do? The medallion is a 4, dexterity. That doesn't sound bad. Medallion of Dexterity, as opposed to, say, Strangling. Increases the wearer's combat bonus by +2 as long as they wear the medallion. Yes, please. Okay. Now, there's no restriction. I think you can wear like a whole chest full of medallions the way Mark Spitz did. I think so. I don't remember if it was Mark Spitz or Bruce Jenner who showed up on like talk shows with just like all their gold medals on their chest. It was weird. One of them. But anyway, that's a really cool thing, especially since she's in the front row. If somebody had gotten it who wasn't a good combat character, what I might have done was an exchange of, okay, let me give you my money, for that. I'm using a darker pencil in general. Wrote it in here, but also put a +2 in pencil because this is a transferable item. All right, well, that was cool. That was a great find, actually. That's going to give her a total of +7 on the hammer table, which, means on average now we're going to be doing 2 points of damage. and we could get up to 3. Well, we dead-ended, no monster. We're going to backtrack and go there. Wandering monster checks and whatnot. So we found an evil hero who has only a resistance value of 2. His strength is 1d plus 4, or his vitality or whatever. So let's see what that's going to be. He's only going to be 5 hit points. But he's armed with a weapon, a plus 2, and that's just his skill, plus 2 with sword. That adds to his base combat value, like that's his skill with the sword. So he's going to be a plus 7, which is a pretty good combat capability. I don't want to waste a charm on somebody this week, so we're going to just beat him up. Too bad we don't have the vampire. We could just be charming everyone. That'd be awesome. We killed him getting the 5 XP or whatever that he's worth, but he's also got potential for treasure. He's an evil hero. J, no, because he's a wandering monster, so that's going to be a C, which gives a 1 chance of a magic item, which he did not use. No. And then 3 dice of money, 10, 11, 12. Everybody gets a couple bucks. And then we have to swap batteries. I always explain to my players, you have to, when you give your rating, give it under the best of possible circumstances, right? Like, if you had a horrible game or, just bad luck or whatever, or if you were with the wrong people or whatever, if somebody was annoying, you don't factor that in. Factor it as the game itself, how much you enjoyed it. Not how willing are you to play it again, although, you could say that might be similar. I'd say it's very different because some games may have no replayability capability, right? Or a lower replayability. Which is to say, so like, I give a really high rating to Tales of the Arabian Nights, I think like a 9, but that's based on the concept of it's one of my earlier plays. Nowadays, I'm just too familiar with the game. Alternatively, on another side of things, it's also not, when I say best of possible situations, I don't mean like while receiving a blowjob or something like that. It's, it's the value added by the game. And I doubt that the game is going to be particularly adding to your situation there. Okay. So I will continue on in my exploration. I think this is my route forward. So, kind of a dangerous thing I ran into here. First of all, I found my first mirror. I can't investigate it yet. I've been getting kind of lucky with not running into monsters too much. I think, among other things, I've been getting lucky, which makes it easier and better for me. Like, my worry was really that the game would be too tough, because that's my memory of it. Maybe I just picked a stupid party, didn't rely on the charm thing, didn't get lucky, maybe, I don't know. A Hydra. I rolled up its hit points. It only has 7. So, given that it's a Hydra, I think it's worth fighting, but let's look at their special ability. Each wound point inflicted on a Hydra will increase its combat bonus by 1 point. So, now I strike first, so I'll build up its combat bonus unless I can kill it. And I might be able to kill it with 7 hit points. I'm not going to try to charm it because it has a 0 combat value, which is not very good. It doesn't have very many hit points, and la. So I think probably it's best to try to just slay it. It has a nice treasure type too. Rather easily, the treasure chest was untrapped, but there was fuck all in it, like 80 bucks. 80 bucks is nice. The way we divided it up, that gives everybody 100. I think for the XP thing, let me see how that works out. Acquiring new abilities, 12.2. You have to spend 100 XP and 100 gold marks. We're not at the 100 XP yet. And of course, the gold marks are kind of useless. Unless you crap out. Like, we're getting more treasure than we are XP. Like, on a per player basis. Remember, the XP, everybody shares, but it's not divided. The treasure gets divided. I guess you could get really unlucky with your treasure, or, you know, you could spend or something. But, yeah, we don't have the XP yet to want to leave. But we found a mirror, and a mirror is impressive. We have to roll on the mirror table. Okay, so we roll a die and see what level the Hellgate is on. It's unlikely to be on the first level, but it'd be awesome for us if it was, because we've explored a lot of the first level. That puts limitations, means we don't have to go through here or do anything. Hey, we're lucky. So the mirror is on segment 1. Or is in level 1. Now we roll to see how many segments away it is. Now, I say segments away. I thought that was rooms away. I thought you had to explore X number of rooms. Let's take a look at this. If the level rolled is the same as the one by the party's second roll is rolled, this determines the number of unexplored segments the player must enter. Okay. So, at this point, we're nearly at the end. And we've gotten incredibly lucky with that roll. Here's the question. We could go kill this, go down to the next level possibly even, in order to avoid having to find those segments. Like, basically the idea is try to build up strength, leave the dungeon, and then come back fully healed and ready. I'm not going to do that. That's cheesy. I think we've gotten very, very lucky on this. But sometimes I think you'd have to do shit like that. All right, so we'll track our way, and we've got 3 more segments to draw, and that's it. And then the Hellgate shows up. There we are. There can be no monster there. What we do, on the other hand, though, is we figure out what we're facing. A D3 plus 2 demons. We're getting fucking ridiculously lucky here. I mean, really. 1, 2, and they're not that tough either. 3. 3 demons. They'll be in the front rank here. We'll play this one out because it's the final battle. And X the Unknown and the Hellgate itself will be back in the 3rd line. Okay. I know we went over this, but how does it all fight? All right. During the Hellgate phase, which is after the monster fires, the Hellgate can cast 3 blast spells. The Hellgate does not expend wounds to cast them. The Hellgate will continue to cast spells as long as X is alive. When he dies, the Hellgate ceases to function and the demons disappear. The Hellgate can cast spells from the 3rd row. X must be killed. X counts just as a mage. The demons in X are only affected by monster wound, monster combat bonus, treasure type, and experience points rolls. Yeah, we're on level 1, so that's not going to be an issue. Okay, so let me roll up my monsters. We don't want to. All right. Do this. D1. D2. I'm having trouble writing right now. And we'll put X up here. X is going to be 1 die plus 6. That's 10. And these guys are all 1 die plus 2. And I should probably be wiping the demons out right away. Maybe not. And that's not even a high roll. Okay. We're gonna have a real fight here on our hands. And there's a 5. And now the Hellgate does blasts. I don't remember. Are those just the, like... I don't remember how many points those are. Those are 2 wounds each. Yeah. And... what do... I don't remember what the spellcasters do. Evil mages know 1 spell lightning, which they cast every turn, but they take the damage for it, which is a big deal because lightning is kind of expensive. Well, no, it's only 2. Okay. It has to be done at first row. I actually don't think you can shoot into the second row. Okay. So I get to attack first. And I must attack the demons with everything. I can't charm them. Right? I'm not sure. Because it might be worth charming a demon. They have a resistance. Pretty sure I can't charm X. He's got a resistance of 4. Maybe I can. Demons also have a 4. Let's see. I think actually the charm spell is where I look for this. Charm. I'm not really sure. You know what, I think I've been cheating. I think I've been cheating when I give the party the XP for things they charm. No, it doesn't really make much difference. The treasure is left kind of ambiguous, but I think the XP actually doesn't go. And you would kind of think that the charm monster would give you his treasure. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm able to charm them. Why didn't I take sleep? Sleep is really useful. Because it's almost as expensive as charm. See, sleep allows you to kill something, which is kind of nice. Let's see what else I have. Not much. Yeah, I think for the most part I have to fight. And then, you know, whatever healing I have or whatever I can use to help me make my way out. But that's going to be wandering monsters. That'll be probably pretty easy to hit. I kind of missed that period of time. You know, I don't know. Things were never really great between my past wife and I. Like, they were never bad. But, like, I remember romantic relationships always being, I don't know, different, right? Maybe my age and maybe the type of person she was mixed with the type of person I am, whatever. But at the very least, whenever she played this, which was within the first year or so that we were together, it was kind of an interesting thing because she wanted something to do. And, you know, I gave this to her to look over and whatever and just play. And she ended up playing it. And I think she's actually succeeded with it, which is more than I ever did. But, well, whatever. Okay, so let's get started. Deirdre, you know, it's the climactic battle. I guess we have to do it, right? I don't know. She is at +6, +7 on the hammer, which still isn't that great. It sounds great, but that's a good roll. So she does 3 to the demon in front of her. The Chimera is at +7. Not so good. That's just 1. It gets to make a resistance roll against fire, which it succeeds in. So that one only takes 1. And the third one is facing a +10. Yeah. Which is just 1, and there's nothing special from the Minotaur. Should bellow or something. All right. Now I'm going to coordinate my missiles against this. Let's do that +2 bow person. That's a 4. That doesn't do shit. I got a +1 bow. That will do 1. And now I have a +0 bow. I'll try to finish it off. If I kill it, it doesn't get to swing at me. I do not. And that sucks. Now I'm on their turn. I need to swap batteries. I can swing first. That's 5 at Deirdre. 5 is not very good on the monster table, as we've seen from these others. That's a 6. That's going to do a hit still. Five going against my Chimera. It's a 9. That's going to do 1. So Chimmy is down to a 6. Nothing special from these demons. They're kind of shitty. And against my Minotaur, that's again 1. Yeah, I put those in the wrong places. So this should actually be a 9, and this should be a 15. Blast a lightning bolt at a random one. 1, 2, 3. That's a 4, so it goes to Deirdre. I don't know how much lightning does. It does a lot. But she gets a resistance check, which she fails. So she could be in trouble. If I didn't have these monsters, this would be impossible. I'm telling you. D3 plus 2 wounds. That's going to be 5 hits. By the way I count things. Deirdre's down to 1 wound point. Now, I got a problem. I'm too packed to move her back when it comes to reorganization. She's probably going to die. That's okay. Now we have 3 blasts, which are just 2 wounds each. And we roll for each critter that gets shot at. 2 is going to be the Chimera, and it does not resist. So it's down to a 7. I'll just keep counting down. Second one also hits it. It does not resist. Of course, there could be a space open. I still can only move 1 critter, though. And then the third one also hits it. Does not resist. It's down to a 3. However, now it's my turn. And I come swinging back with my attacks. These guys don't get to play. They're not a Hellgate. So Deirdre... actually, we get the reorganization phase. But the way reorganization is you can move 1 character. You can't swap 2 characters with each other or anything like that. So I got a problem. And even if the Chimera had been killed, I wouldn't be able to back up because there'd only be 2 characters in the front row. I would have to fill that front row in. All right. Well, luckily for her, she's facing the weak demon. and is at plus a whole shitload, I think she's guaranteed to hit it. Yeah. Okay, there goes that one. But these others, I wish I had had her hit. She was at, what, plus 4, 6. Probably should have done things differently. 7 on the hammer. She got a 13 on the hammer. That's like 3 hits. Yeah. I should have actually fired missile first. Well, stupid me. Let's see what the Minotaur does then. Let's make our decisions more cleverly. 12, that's 2 hits over here. It's hard to write when I'm doing the camera thing. I don't understand why. I'm just swapping to another hand. I guess we'll do the camera. 9, that's going to be 1, and a resistance check by the demon does not do anything, so this goes down to 6. And now we will do missile fire at the most wounded demon so that it can't attack us. The first one is what, plus 2 or plus 3? Plus 2, I think. 8. Never rolled that high. It's still just 1 point. A plus 1, no, and the plus 0, no. So once again, we get somebody down to 1 hit point, and now they come back. And the demon swings first, 5 at the Minotaur, I guess. 9, that's a hit. Minotaur's up to 4, or down to 14. Plus 5 on the Chimera, which is in pretty bad shape. Uh-oh. That's an 11. Still just a hit. Pretty weak. X. X is doing a lightning. Oh, I forgot to take X's hits for that lightning bolt. Let's look at the spell chart. He did a lightning bolt. That cost him 2 of his. So he's at 8 from that. And he'll go to 6 now as he blasts again. Let's see who he shoots. He's going to shoot the Minotaur. Minotaur makes a resistance check, fails. I don't remember how much damage it does. So we gotta look over here. D3 plus 2. That's 3 hits. And now 3 shots from the Hellgate. First one hits Deirdre. She resists. Yay! Second one hits her again. She does not resist. I believe she's dead. Yep. So she is dead. We now have less characters in the party. I didn't feel like drawing a whole skull and crossbows. But crossbows, yeah, that's what we got here. And then the third Hellgate blast will hit on odd even the Chimera. It makes a resistance check and it makes it and survives. And poor X, I've already spent his points for that. We go to reorg. Which order does it go in? Is this in the sequence of play? Monster combat. Party reorganization happens before monster reorganization. I would like to move somebody forward, I think. I got a +1 axe here. Elf A, I definitely do not want going up there. So I'll put him up here. I don't know if this is the best idea, but the axe does more damage because Shithead does move up to fill in. He has to do that automatically. And that means that we go to another round of combat. The dwarf has, well, X has 6 hit points. He's not in that much danger. Let's do the Minotaur first. No, let's not do the Minotaur first. Let's fire an elf first. Let's fire the +2 elf. Yay! That killed us a demon, and that's a big deal. This is what we should have done when we had a 1 hit point demon over there. Because that frees the Minotaur up to hit this. And we'll do that now. That +10. 12 does 2 hits to the orc, or to the demon. The Chimera has to go after that. 13, that's 2. A resistance check succeeds. This is down to 2. I can't kill anything. I'm going to shoot X. And this is with, what, the +1 bowman? We get a hit on X. I don't know what X is armed with. Probably a sword. Okay. X will blast his spell, though. He's allowed to do it from the front row. Mages are allowed to do that. And who does he shoot? Somebody in the front row. He shoots the big bad Minotaur, which is probably a mistake. And we still don't remember how much damage. 1d3 + 2. Oh, resistance check. Okay. Doesn't hurt it. And now the Hellgate also starts firing off at the front row. Shoots at the Chimera. It does not resist. It takes 2 hits, which I think kills it. We'll just ditch that. That's not creating any victory points for us or anything. It doesn't have anything we have to deal with. So that's... We got 2 more shots. Odd even, I guess. We shoot the dwarf. He does not resist. He takes 2 hits. Oh no! He's almost dead too. And finally, we shoot the dwarf. He resists that one. I cannot back up. I am going to move one of these 2 forward. I'm going to move Sligoth forward. All right? Sligoth is +5 axe, +4 sword. I want to keep that 3 Hellgate because we might not be able to make it out. We might not be able to succeed. Of course, if we don't succeed, the second mission becomes almost trivial. And I don't think I'll even play it out if that's the case. So I don't move into the first row. I get to attack. I guess the big 10 hit against the demon, because it's the only thing I'm adjacent to. That's a 12. I hope that's 2 hits and kills it. So otherwise we just have problems. Yeah. So there goes the last demon. And the dwarf, who is probably doomed as well. +1 on axe. Total of 4. That does 1 hit to X. X will not be casting spells anymore. So he does less damage, but the dwarf is down to 1 hit point, so it really doesn't make much difference. But we get to shoot him. What does Sligoth have? Oh, I hope he's got a weapon. He has a bow with a 4 combat value. An 8 on the bow, I think we determined that was just 1 point. That brings X down to 1. We got our +2 bow. That's enough. X is dead. Okay. We've just won the fight. I'm going to record the values for the fight, just for, I don't know, because whatever. Whatever. And the treasure, and then we're going to think about the Hellgate. There's something important we want to do first. We want to resurrect Deirdre. Look at the spell. Lucky we got that. Oh, we don't have the points for it. Oops. Okay. The reason I wanted to do that first was because otherwise I have to do weird things with the experience points, which is multiply by 6 and divide by 5. Everybody who survives gets 34 experience, which puts us just 5 short of being able to go up a level. Not that it matters. We're done. I don't know if there's treasure here. Does X come with treasure? X comes with treasure. How about that? I don't think the demons come with their own treasure. Is L one of the special ones? JK. I suspect it is. Yes, it is. Okay, 1 through 3, we got a trap to deal with. Yeah, we do. We're greedy, man. You're not going to go into a dungeon, solve the major thing, and then like, screw it, we'll just leave that chest there. Okay, so we have somebody with Thief, and that costs 1, I believe. That drops him to 5. And I don't remember what the plus is. We have 2D trap. I think that gives us a 1 through 5, which is the best we can do. And we succeed. Okay. So, what did we find in L? We found magic items. Let's see how many. We found 1. And I'll roll the other stuff as we go. So what type of magic item did we find? Okay. Well, the dwarf's got his paws in the pile. So he's the one who's going to pull it out. He's the one who tried the thing. He might trade it or whatever. Again, red is the top. 1, 2, 3, I guess. Potion. 1, 2. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. He finds a potion of strength, which he drinks because he just wants to test it out. Like, it would be useful if you knew, I found a potion. Hey, does somebody want to do something with it? I think the potion of strength affects my next battle, which might change what I do. Character's combat bonus is increased by a d6 for the next combat sequence. Okay, so the dwarf is going to have a temporary +3. And I'll put that in parentheses. And he has a potion of strength. And it's just 1 use on his, that he's just pocketed while nobody was looking. Because he is a thief, and somebody bonused his thieving with the skill. So, you know, he would grab it. All right. But in addition to that, L says 1 through 4. We get some jewels. And again, I'm just going to divide up the money. Total here comes to 340, but poor Deirdre's dead. So let's add her 103 into the pool as we divvy that up. Now, she has this dexterity medallion, which people probably want. So I don't know. I think what we're going to do is give somebody the dexterity medallion and 43 gold, and everybody else gets 100 gold. Who gets the dexterity medallion? Well, we're going to decide that by who it would do the best for. It adds 2 to combat bonus. So a +5 axe goes to +7 axe. +4 sword goes to +6 sword. Sluggoth is going to take 43 gold and the dexterity medallion off of her. People could pick up her equipment and switch, I guess, if they wanted it. But, you know, people have the equipment they chose, right? Like, her with a fucking hammer and sword makes no sense, right? Somebody might, like, I would feel very upset with her, though, dropping her sword to pick up a bow or something like that, because it would be actually useful if somebody with a bow died. Before I do anything else, I check Theragon. She's fine, he's fine, whatever. So it's time to start playing with the Hellgate. How do we do this? Roll a die. If it's less than or equal to Hellgate, the Hellgate's destroyed. Otherwise, I take a wound. Hellgate destroyed. So we've succeeded in the main mission goal. Doesn't get anything special for that. Everybody got the $100. Right now, that means that MTAT here with 206 money is actually winning the game because everybody's got the same experience. Okay. We lost our Shimra. These demons go away and become Kronks. X goes away. Poor Deirdre goes in the... nobody can carry her out. She probably weighs as much as a tapestry. And now we want to look at healing. Our Minotaur is in pretty good shape. I'm not going to heal it with its 11 wounds. But there are some people who are not in great shape. And that is who? Stubby did not die. Yeah, he needs some serious healing. Now, Rejuve may be too serious. Although Sliggeth has a Rejuve. Where's the healing? Rejuve costs 2, does a d6 plus 1. I don't need that. Sliggeth needs healing. So I'm going to kind of balance out and try to give what I can where I can. It's not of much importance, right? Yeah, this one has a fucking Rejuve. Wow. When what it turns out is it's these regular heals that I really need. All right, well, somebody's got to heal him, and but he's going to heal somebody. Now, heal only costs 1. So we'll take him down to 5 healing. Goes down to a 4. And this is a D3 plus 1, I think, for regular heal. Yeah. On to Stubby. That's only 2. Puts him up to a 3. Is that good enough? Probably. Because my party size, Theragrand has a fucking throwing dagger. Combat bonus counts on bows too. So Theragrand will take the front row. The dwarf will be in the front row, I guess. Sliggoth will be in the back row because he has a bow. Although I really liked that axe as the weapon. Plus 6 on the bow. What's that like? You know what we could do? No, she's not willing to give up her weapon, damn it. She's like, no, I like throwing daggers. Fuck you. Fine, bitch. Go in the front then. Okay. One use, probably really shitty. I can only imagine that it's not as good as a bow. It's not as good as a bow. Why would you have this weapon unless you had like skill in it, and you would never pick skill in it? Okay, whatever. Are we healed enough? No, somebody needed to heal Sliggeth. Stubby will heal Sliggeth, and then Sliggeth will heal Stubby. Is what I'm guessing here. That drops him back to a 2. D plus 3. Or D3 plus 1. That's only 2. That brings him to a 6. Another 1. Right? No. No. First, we want to do off of here. So this goes to a 4 and a 5. And we'll try to heal him. No! I think this wasn't a 1. I don't know. All right, back to a 3. This is sucking. I feel like I'm breaking even on my hit points here. That means he has to cast his last heal, I guess. Have a little, where is it? This thing, which is better for this kind of stuff. Another little eraser that gives some firmness. All right, let's try to heal Sligoth. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So he's now fully healed. And we'll heal him. Which drops me down to a 7. I feel like I must have subtracted an extra 1 somewhere. Oh, 2 whole hit points. Excellent. That brings me up to a 4. Well, we'll have to live with that. All right. And now we begin just our way back, rolling, and each space that we enter that we roll a 1 on, we're going to have to fight something. But our party's been reduced. We're only 6 characters now, one of which is a fucking Minotaur. Now, first room, we run into an ogre. Well, now I have to hunt for ogre because that's not one of the front counters for anything, and I think they're fairly rare, and I don't know where the fuck they're gonna be. So I basically have to paw through everything and look for ogres. Great. Having to look through the counter mix the way I have to say that is actually a negative to the scoring of the game. The components are problematic in a lot of ways, but this is the big one. You know, I mean, the little pieces and whatnot, I can deal with that. I don't really like building a map out of tiny little pieces, but whatever. But having to hunt through all the counters to look for like that one monster. And, you know, it's because they were trying to keep the counter mix. This is actually quite a large counter mix, but it came with no map. This is probably the size of the counter sheets that your S&Ts came with. Ares generally came with like 100 pieces, which really kind of sucked. I managed to find one. It's under the Harpies. You know, to add insult to it all, they could have put all the values on here, so you don't have to hunt out a counter when you have like a single monster and you're just dealing with it. Not going to be a hard fight, I don't think. It's got a 5 combat value. It's got a 1d plus 2, 5 hit points. I could try to charm it, but it's a shitty-ass monster. Let's just kill it. We could just negotiate as well. It's not a bad negotiation one. And yeah, J or E. E is kind of nice. We'll kill it, because, again, it's weak. It's really weak. Ogre's dead. It had 5 hit points. 5 times 6 is 30. Divided by 5 is 6. So now we're at 101. It's annoying. And treasure, we also have to do. I need to swap batteries, and like both those fuckers are charging. This is not cool. So the ogre had an E-type treasure, and we were able to wipe it out pretty easily. But there is an important factor. Stubby here had drunk a potion of strength. That has now worn off. He got the +3 in combat, and that means I'm going to swap him with Sligeth here, because he's not particularly good in the front row. He's better, but he's got low hits and whatnot, so I don't want to do that. So E, I have a chance of a magic item. Nah. So we get $30 divided by 5, $6 each. We're in this space. I don't know. We're in one of these two spaces. I don't remember which one. I think it's actually the upper one. And we ran into a couple of orcs. Not too exciting, but, you know, I'll have to roll. I'll just do the combat. I don't want to go into too much detail on the exit unless it starts getting hairy. This should just fall. Matter of fact, we didn't fight him. We just intimidated him. Nice roll. So they're treasure type B. I get to roll up their treasure for that. They get a D6 money. Look, they had $2. They give us a quarter of that. They give us nothing. Great. And now we can keep moving. Well, it got worse. In this room, we found a whole bunch of kronks. Now, kronks are not, like, they look like shit, right? They should be really, really easy. They're not. They have a negotiation value of 9. They have shitty resistance, but they also have a special effect. When the party begins to fight Kronk or group of Kronks, each has to undergo a resistance. Their combat bonus is reduced by 2 for that combat if they fail their resistance. Ew. But I feel like we have to fight them, but this is not going to be a trivial fight. They do have they're stronger than orcs, not just odor-wise. Good hit points, too. All right. I mean, we could try bribing them, but I don't want to give up my money. So, who has combat bonuses? Because they reduce your combat bonus by 2. I don't think that affects people who have 0 combat bonus. They suck anyway. So Theragrand is going to have hers reduced to a 0 for this fight. And Sligeth keeps his, which is big because, well, I mean, I don't know. All right, we'll start whacking them. I'll come back. If this starts getting hairy, I'll come back. This is kind of how I remember the game. A big horde of crappy things comes at you and you kind of get beaten up by it. Yeah, I'm able to handle it at this point, mainly because I have this thing here. But, you know, it starts wearing you down right away. Whereas running into that big monster, or there's 2 big monsters early on that I could drop charm on, that was really fortunate, right? And now they were my front line all the way through until the end, and now I'm a little weaker without the Shimra, but you know, I really could use some more meat in my line, and I have the feeling that this is the kind of shit that I ran into early on. And it just gave me a really bad taste about the game. I was like, how do you win this shit? You know, I'm fighting the weakest shit. I'm fighting orcs, I'm fighting kronks, whatever. Well, now I know. You got to get lucky and run into the right kind of monsters early on. Enjoyment, again, something like this, I would just say, why am I doing this? You know, I think one of my first reactions to it really was, look, when I first got D&D, when I first got the D&D stuff, I said, oh, cool, let me try playing it solo. There's, you know, this solo generation system in it. And I fiddled around with that. And this is really no better, right? And that was kind of my reaction to it was, Okay, that was something that I gave up on right away. It didn't interest me at all. And this is like a weaker version of that. And given that, I just tended to always look on it very negatively. Now, it's been a long ass time since I played any kind of anything kind of just like this. That's just, you know, wander into rooms, roll up treasure, roll up monsters, fight them, roll up treasure, whatever. That felt so weak to me as to the, you know, as to, wow, this is not the D&D experience that I wanted, you know. And then I started, you know, bringing other people to play. But it immediately, you know, then when I ended up getting this, and I think it was also partially negative because it was fairly early in my subscription. You know, I was so excited. Barbarian Kings was really good, and then I started seeing shit like this, and I'm like, this is just a fucking random dungeon game. What the hell? I don't need these chits and everything. It's harder to play. It's less rich. The only thing that's kind of advantageous about it is this little weirdness about the Hellgate, right? But it like had no advantage over that random dungeon system. And again, compare this to Valkenburg Castle, man. Round down, we didn't manage to kill a Kronk. We got one at 1 hit point. I'll shoot it before the Minotaur goes, I guess. And meanwhile, they're, you know, they do 1 hit per round, basically, each. Whether I got lucky or unlucky there, I failed to kill the Kronk that was in front of him with all 3 of my missile guys, so he had to waste his big 10 attack on them, on that 1-point Kronk. But then, none of the Kronks hit, so I guess it was okay. But this is just tedious and unpleasant. This is the part of the game that I don't like when you're facing hordes of shitty stuff. You're getting worn down. Nothing good's coming of it. You know you're not going to get good treasure. And you just kind of feel like this is shit that you can find just as wandering monsters and stuff. And I'm lucky I didn't run into anything like this before, in the sense of me having enjoyed the game. But I'm already like, you know, I didn't enjoy it enough to justify this, right? And I feel like this is what I remember the game being. Yeah. Around, another Kronk gone, you know, but the damage is just, you know, accumulating on my characters. Is it terrible? I don't know. The Minotaur is doing okay. Sligoth's doing all right, I guess. I mean, they're healthy enough, but now imagine if I run into more of this kind of shit. I'm going to have trouble, and I'm running low on healing and everything. Granted, I'm late in the adventure, and I've gone through a lot of rooms and everything. I got very lucky early on, but it's also a luck factor in terms of like, this is just obnoxious to play. It's like so many die rolls and shit, and you know, you're rolling to see, did I do 0 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits, maybe, and it's almost certainly 1 hit in most of these cases. It's fucking annoying. Not like there's a spell that works on, you know, masses of small monsters or anything like that. And these aren't all that small. These are tougher than orcs, like I said. You know, it's not like I'm just unprepared for this particular beast. There is actually nothing I can do about these. No matter how I started, I could have prepared for, like, if I had planned on hitting these and prepared for that, this would not be, there would be nothing I could have done that's better. The only thing that I could do better is having succeeded and charmed a lot of monsters and be able to wipe them out more quickly that way. After the next round, there's just 1 Kronk left. He's dead. But, I mean, the Kronks, like, have a 1 in 6 chance of doing nothing and a 5 in 6 chance of doing 1 hit point. Just to give you an idea of, you know, what kind of obnoxious wearing down the game has. Yes, it means that, you know, you can count on what you're going to do. I guess I look for the treasure for these shitheads. But they have just spoiled the game for me. They're a Type B treasure. At least the stench is gone. Type B is shit. I get 3 gold. I don't know. And 28 times 6 divided by 5. I guess we each get 34 more experience. I had all I can take. I'm going to mark that up like that. Put these guys on here. And yeah, we take a break. I thought I would be able to just finish. Not having the same kind of luck I had going in. Not having any fun anymore. Feels like the adventure's done, right? You know, but I've got to make my way out. If I had a teleport spell, I could teleport one guy, have the rest of them commit suicide, and call it a win for the party. So came back from you know, my dungeon diving expedition, whatever, and made it through all the rest. Luckily for me, without rolling any more ones. So we make it out. And at this point, you know, it's like, okay, but now what, right? Now, obviously, you could improve your characters or whatever. Try to play a Death Maze type thing or something like that with this. I guess if Death Maze was pretty much the same game without the Hellgate. But I wouldn't want to, you know. We can look at the scores. What do they mean? You know, as a party, we succeeded. Deirdre obviously died. Well, that's not cool for her. For others, in terms of the victory points, everybody gets the same XP, and then we just compare the amount of money. And so that's MTET with 212. Because of bargaining and whatnot, you know, in terms of like, oh, give me this, give me that, you know. It's kind of shitty that like getting a magic item or some special thing that helps you doesn't count towards your victory. I don't know, you know, the per player victory is such a goofy idea anyway. It's like, hey, who won this adventure of D&D? Yeah, it makes sense in some circumstances. It doesn't make sense in the circumstance of this particular game. There's no inter-party conflict. There's no cool things to put, and the other kinds of things that you could kind of use to reflect those, you know, like, you know, what was the role playing like, you know, and give points for that and stuff. Don't really worry about XP. That's the XP and the money. That's just shit, you know. That's just stuff that you're dragging out and maybe allows you to go in another time. But you know, there's no GM. There's no. It's just really a dungeon crawl, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to give somebody victory. You could give somebody victory based on, you know, how much damage they do, and stuff like that. More of the way Rollmaster kind of handles XP actually, with all kind of complex stuff. But it's not what the game's about. It's really just a solo dungeon crawl, and you're trying to make it out after succeeding in your goal. And if you did that, you did it. If you didn't, you didn't. It's a little better than I remember, as long as you get lucky. But if you get unlucky, which doesn't necessarily mean, you know, completely stymied or anything like that. If you get unlucky and face obnoxious creatures like the Kronks, that there's really no counter to, and it's a tedious combat system where everybody's doing a point or two to each other. You know, the more dramatic monsters, look, they could wipe you out or do a great deal of damage to your party, and you have to flee and whatever, and I'd be fine with that. What I'm not fine with is what that final battle ended up as. I got exceedingly lucky throughout this, I think, in terms of meeting. First of all, I was clever enough to pick the charm spell and to set myself up so that I could cast it. I am proud of myself for that. I don't know if I did that well other times. I suspect I probably did, you know, when I played it as I got older. Maybe not the first time I played it, but that's the kind of, you know, way that I like to play. I don't remember what the computer RPG was that there were at least a couple that I got very much into, either summoning or charming enemies. I think more into summoning than anything else. But always have, it was basically a first person slasher type game, which are the kinds that I tend to play more of. But it allowed you to summon a bunch of nasty things, and I'm just like, I just don't do anything, I just try to avoid combat and let them finish the situation for me, which works pretty well. I mean, yes, I do things, but I try to put myself out of danger and worry more about keeping my summons alive and working them. And that's actually the kind of way that I like to play things like this. So similarly, I think I would have probably picked the charm type thing. And then I would have come up against crap like the Kronks, like the Orcs and whatever, and just been like, this shit sucks, man. Not only is it difficult and there's no real solution, like there's no fireballs or anything like that will take out a mass of monsters, where you could have chosen something that worked better against them than the charm spell as your main offensive capability. And I took other things, I took like lightning. There is this explode ability, but it does like 1 damage to everybody, including your own people. Well, that's not really cool. That's really shitty. Yeah, you might be able to use it in some circumstances, but it doesn't really do you any good against the Kronks or even the Orcs with their 1 die hit point of hit points. So, yeah. But I certainly would have tired of the game pretty much if it had gone much more than it did, even going well, because there's just not much to it, right? And when I did hit a hitch where the combat, the big thing with the combat with the Kronks is not just that it's hard. I don't think it was terribly hard, especially for my party, but it's that it's really, really die roll intensive and time consuming and everything. It's just not fun, right? Kind of reminds me of the naval system in La Grande Guerre, a game I love, but this doesn't deliver anything that makes up for fights that happen that way. And then, of course, there is the issue of, look, putting it up against other games, why SPI was looking to try to attract the role-playing gamers, the young role players, to come into this. Why would they fucking do this? They all already have, your D&D or whatever, and had access to what I would say is a richer dungeon generator and a richer set of monsters and treasures and all kind of cool shit in a system that they already were studying and knew about. And that was one of my disappointments with it, was this is not as cool as what just came as a couple of pages in the DM's guide, because all the rest of the rules are already there. It's kind of like when SFB adds like a monster scenario or something, you're like, well, that's kind of cool. I get to use all the mechanisms of a game that I already understand in a different way than I would normally assume that I'm playing it. And that's kind of, what the D&D capability for doing random dungeons and whatnot allowed for. And I'm absolutely cool with that. That was a cute thing. It wasn't a lot of fun. It didn't really engage me, but this is like a worse version of something that wasn't a lot of fun. Now, I had my kick with it, and again, I think mainly because this was similar to playing it with other players. I generally don't like solo games by myself. I like playing big multiplayer games by myself, where I get to enjoy the interactions between all the different players and what they're thinking and what their goals are against one another, as opposed to just trying to min-max and optimize across whatever the circumstances are, and hope for the best of luck or whatever. Anyway, up it goes. I changed my mind a little bit. I think point-wise, I was a little harsh on this game, but I still really don't like it.